thoughts create things. Our mind, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know the thesis of these calls. If you change your thinking, you change your life. If you change how you are viewing things, if you're changing your belief system, it's changing the way that you operate, it's changing who you are as a person, and you're going to get completely different outcomes. That is easier said than done, but we got to understand and become aware that how our brain works, what our brain is there to do. It's important. Again, just like they might not teach us financial literacy, they might not teach us physical health, they don't teach us mental health, they don't teach us how our brain works, how our subconscious mind works, how we're operating out of similar thoughts and similar choice day after day. Something that's always hard to hear is that you can be addicted to your emotions, right? So if you feel similar things, that's actually a form of an addiction. Like your body and your mind has gotten you to a place where that is comfortable for you. And what do we always say? In order to be successful, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. All the stuff that Dr. Joe Dispenza was just talking about are very uncomfortable things. These are things that put you in a place of discomfort because you have to change. Because you have to change. Change is uncomfortable for most people, but it can't be uncomfortable for you if you want to go off and design your ideal life. If again, if we're on these calls to design a life we don't need a break from, not to live average and ordinary, but to go off and design that life that God called us to live, the vision that we have in our mind. If that's what we got to do, then we have to change. And we have to change who we are. Have you ever heard someone say, that's just the way I am? You ever heard somebody say that? I'm sure you have. Hopefully you haven't said that in a very long time because that is the epitome of what we call the fixed mindset. We live in a growth mindset, meaning that we can change. It's not just the way you are. You are not a certain way. You can become whatever you want to be. You can think about life however you want to. You can change your reality. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza. He always says, right, that word personality is your personal reality, right? You're not born with a personality. You develop your personality. It's your personal reality. So you can change that if you learn to change your personal reality, learn to change who you are, you will then get a new life. You'll get different outcomes. If you want to change your financial situation, you have to change the way you think about money, which will change who you are and how you see yourself with money. And it'll allow you to get to a new reality with money. I know, easier said than done. I want you to understand that these are seeds that are being planted that you have to water, that you have to nurture in order to change these things. We start with a certain programming. We've been programmed in a certain direction, and now you get exposed to information that's different than your current reality. Well, you have to learn how to what? Learn, unlearn, and relearn new information. That's this process for you getting to the life that you want, for you making sure you have life exactly where you want it, for you changing your personal reality. You have to now think differently about your life. And it's important to understand, right? Some things that he talked about in there, right? Thoughts are language of the brain, feelings are language of the body, but your thoughts create things. Your thoughts create your feelings by how you view things, by how you think of things. You're telling yourself a story of what that means. The story that you've created around your thoughts creates the feelings inside of your body. Your thoughts create the things. Everything starts here. Everything starts with how you think about it. Everything starts with your programming. I just want you to understand that because if we don't attack that, if we just try to change our environment, if we just try to change our circumstance, if we just try to change the people around us, if we just try to change our habits, we're further down the road than we need to be. The core, the beginning of change is in you thinking differently about certain things. That's where the core of change comes in. That's where it actually happens. And so we got to pay attention to this. Again, a couple things I wrote down. Are you romancing your future or romancing your past? Right? Are you romancing your future? Do you have again, guys, I do this stuff all the time. I went to bed last night thinking about the future. I couldn't sleep because I was so excited about the possibilities and the opportunities that are going to come up in the next 12 to 24 months for us. I'm this is literally on my brain as I'm going to sleep, to the point that like I have to get up and I have to like jot some things down on my phone, right? Send like give myself a little text note because I'm so excited about the future. I romance my future. I think about what the future holds and it excites me every time I think about it. That's a habit. You got to train your brain how to do that, ladies and gentlemen. If you think about the future and it doesn't inspire you, it doesn't give you hope, it doesn't get you excited, it doesn't get you to stay up at night, you're probably romancing your past. You're probably romancing the good old days. You're probably romancing the time back then when life was better 27 years ago, 15 years ago, 12 years ago, when you experienced that thing. Well, that's what's causing you to not get to your future. It's because we romance our past too much. And so I'm going to challenge you and encourage all of you to start romancing your future. Start thinking about the things that are up ahead that do excite you, that you can then start to experience those emotions. What would it feel like? I had a mentor a long time ago, used to always tell us to go touch our dreams. Used to say that all the time. Go touch your dreams. It's not as expensive as you think. It's not as right as far out as you think. Go touch your dreams. If you have material dreams, if you have a material dream of living in a mansion or a material dream of driving a certain car or a material dream of whatever it is, go touch those things. You can absolutely go sit in a Lamborghini. You can absolutely go to the Ferrari dealership and sit in one. You can absolutely go to the Bentley dealership and sit in one. You may not test drive it. Some may let you, but most times, right, they might not, right? But you can go touch it. You can go take a tour of a mansion. You can actually go and experience these things and feel what it would feel like to be in that. That's how you romance your future. That's how you get so connected to your future and not so connected to your past, because your past just fires off, like Dr. Joe Dispenza just shared, it just fires off similar emotions. And if you want to experience something different in life, then it's going to come with you experiencing, right? Feeling something different. So romance your future. Then I wrote down this tip on meditation. I don't know how many of you meditate. I don't know how many of you have practiced the art of meditation, but he says meditation, the word means to become familiar with, to become familiar with. So the reason why one would meditate, to slow everything down, to disconnect from your environment, to block out the distractions, it's to become familiar with yourself. That's the reason people practice meditation. It's to become familiar with yourself. It's to be familiar with who you are and what you're experiencing in the present. People that find it very hard to slow their brain down, very hard to like, right, when you sit down, it could be in the spiritual realm, it could be in prayer, where some people are like, I pray, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all over the place and I can't think. Same thing with meditation. Have you ever just tried to quiet yourself down and say, like Dr. Joe Dispenza said, I'm training my body, your body, spiritual terms, your flesh, right? Your flesh is what chooses to take over. It's what wants to do things. It's what gets you moving and thinking and all this stuff. But can you control your body? Can you control your flesh to say, nope, the mind is what controls all of this. You don't control this. The renewing of my mind is what controls all of the things that I do, my actions, my feelings, all the things. So can I slow myself down enough to control my flesh, to control my body, to just focus on my breath, to just clear my mind, to disengage with my environment? If you've not practiced meditation, if you have not put this practice into your life, I would encourage you. If you're very busy and you can't seem to slow your mind down, you know how we talk about all the time, you need to write down your vision. If you're still one of those people that has not written down their vision, you're no more clearer on where you're going now than you were 6 months ago. You might need to practice meditation, practice becoming one with yourself and figuring out how to slow yourself down so that you can now use your brain, use your thoughts in order to create the things that you want to make happen. These are important things. Again, easier said than done. A lot of times, easier said than done, but it's possible. In our text, 177 Mental Toughness Secrets, it says here champions know their brain's primary purpose, right? The primary purpose It says here, the great ones know the human brain's primary purpose is the preservation of the mind and body, right? Your brain is to preserve your mind and your body. When an event occurs, the brain asks three questions. What is it? What does it mean? And what do I do? It's important to understand this, y'all. When something happens, we all go through similar events in life. We all go through similar events. Scripturally, there's nothing new under the sun. Whatever your problem is, whatever your adversity is, there's millions of people dealing with the same thing to some degree. Don't ever be the person that's like, I don't, right? No one knows what I'm going through. My situation is so different from everyone else's. It's really not. You might feel like it is, but it's really not. The events that happen in this human experience that we're all having are similar. They're going to elicit similar feelings. They're going to elicit similar things that are happening. And what your brain has to ask is, what is this thing? What does this mean? Meaning, what story do I attach to this? And then what do I do about it? That's what our brain's purpose is. It says the answers determine how the performer responds to any given situation. The secret that champions have discovered is what an event means is all based on subjective perception of the performer and therefore subject to change. If you change the perception of the event, you automatically change the brain's response to it. Again, if you change the perception of an event, you automatically change the brain's response to it. An example would be a salesperson facing rejection day in and day out. The middle class thinkers perceive this rejection to mean pain and suffering. The world class perceives it as completely necessary to justify being paid a large salary and healthy commissions. If the champion had the opportunity to remove rejection from the equation, she would refuse to do it, knowing that the job would no longer be worth as much in the marketplace. Instead, she alters her perception to empower her as a professional performer. The same scenario could apply to someone in the middle of a divorce. The average thinker perceives the divorce as a personal failure. The world-class thinker sees it as a learning experience that will make him tougher and wiser. Which performer is right? Both, because perception to an emotional creature is reality. It sometimes appears that the masses allow themselves to suffer for the sake of suffering when all they have to do is make a subtle shift in their perceptions and reprogram what any given event means to them. While both experiencing the same event, the amateurs are suffering while the pros are dancing in the streets. The only difference lies in the way they manage and manipulate their emotions. So you have to understand, again, what is our brain's job? It's to figure out what is this thing? What is this event? What is happening? Then, again, second, what does this mean? This is the most important part. This is the stuff that Dr. Joe Dispenza is talking about. The story that you create. What does this mean? How you see an event is not how everyone has to see that event. How you experience something is not how everyone has to experience something, but how you choose to experience it will determine how well you go through it. It'll determine how you see that and how you're able to overcome it. Remember, life is 10% what happens to us, 90% how we react to it. Life is only 10% what happens to you. It's 90% the story you tell yourself and how you react to that thing. This is how we use our brain to transform our life. This is how we change our thinking. If we change our thinking, our life can change because there's going to be a different way that you operate. You now live in a different personal reality, meaning you have a different personality about yourself. If you're the person that always gets stressed when this type of event comes up, well, what if you changed how you thought about that event, changed the story that you gave yourself to that event so that you can create a different reality, different personal reality, so that you can get a different outcome. And that stress is not the emotion that you're addicted to. Stress and survival and scarcity is not the thing that we lean back on because that's what we've had to lean on in the past. That's romancing the past. That whether you like that feeling or not, your body is now trained to experience that. What if we could experience abundance? What if we could tell ourselves a different story, a different meaning to why we're going through something, and now it creates a completely different emotion in us? This is the work we have to continue to strive to do in order to get better, in order to get to the life we don't need a break from, ladies and gentlemen. Again, some of this stuff, again, I wanted to teach this morning because some of this stuff goes a little bit, again, it's a seed planet. So you got to water it. It's not like it's going to change for you tomorrow. It's not like it's going to change for you over the next day. But if you start paying attention to this stuff, if you start becoming aware of what your brain's primary purpose is, and then you start to think differently about it, you start to unlearn some things, relearn some things, right? Remove some of the programming, remove some of the wiring, remove some of the distractions, learn how to meditate, learn how to become one with yourself, your thoughts, romance your future. Don't think about your past so much. Start to do some of these things. They become habits. They become habits. And when they become habits, you become a different person. You operate differently in life. You see different things in life. That's how we get to this new personal reality. That's how we build a life that we don't need a break from. The action step for today says identify the three most important events that are currently happening in your life and ask this critical thinking question. What do I think they mean? And is my perception of these events helping or hurting me? Whatever the three most important things happening in your life right now, ask yourself, what do I think that they mean? And is my perception of these events helping me or hurting me? Are they helping me get to the life I don't need a break from? Are they helping me create a new personal reality? Are they helping me grow? Are they helping me learn? Or are they taking me completely away from it? We can make reasons, we can make excuses, but we have to get aware to figure out how our brains are operating. What stories are we telling ourselves? And if we tell ourselves the same stories, we're going to get the same results. That's why I'm challenging all of you on this Wednesday to go off, change the stories, change how you're thinking about things. How do we change our mind? The easiest way is to consume different things, read, listen to, watch, get into new environments where it completely changes how you think of things. Read things that are completely against what you like. Read things that are completely against your beliefs. Like read and listen and engage with things that are completely different from what you are currently thinking, and your thoughts will change. When you change your thoughts, you change your life, ladies and gentlemen. I know easier said than done. I'm not telling you it's easy, but if you just stick on the journey, you'll get to the desired life that you want. It takes time to change, but you have to be intentional about it, y'all. And I know you can all go off and do it. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. If no one ever tells you that you deserve to win, I'll constantly remind you, you do deserve it, right? The vision that you have that no one else has, right? You deserve to see that come to fruition. You deserve to experience the things you want to experience in life. You deserve it. And now we have to go do work. It's not just going to fall on you. You deserve it. And we got to go do some work in order to get it. We got to change our personality. We got to change our personal reality. We have to become different. We have to think different so that we can get different actions, take different actions to get different results. But you guys can go make it happen. Do something that scares you today, pushes you out of your comfort zone, that your future self will thank you for. And I'll see you guys back here on Friday. Take care. Love you guys.